folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, let's get this show on the road here. First, let's start over here. As you can see, this is 12/28/2024. And while that's loading up, and take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. Once you've made it to the spiritual report at the end, you might figure out how precious this family is and how precious you are to me. All right, now that we got that done, thank you for your time. And let's get this going here. Okay, so there's the loop playing and little spits and sputters going on. And then we got this event over here that's very, very faint here. So we might go to stereo A and check out what happened right there because it's very faint. But stereo A has a different angle on stuff right now. So we're going to back out of this. We're going to come down here to stereo A. And here's the loop for 12/28, stereo A. And we're going to let this loop play for just a second. And let's see if you can spot what's going on in there. And then we're going to go through this frame by frame. Okay, so first off, doing a little different tonight. So let's catch this opening frame right here. Okay, so opening frame here on stereo A of 12/28/2024. You can see our little event going on here. You can see this little moon coming out, plasma wrapping around here. Okay, and then as this starts to unfold, ooh, right there kind of gives it away, huh? But that does even more. But let's go back to the previous frame right here, and we're going to zoom in. First off, on this side, you can see the outline of our bigger object right here. You can see our splay coming out like this. So here's our bigger object right here. Okay, and when we slide it over to this side, it's pretty kind of clear where it is, huh? You can really see it. It's well defined right there, that dark patch right there. And then you can make out a little satellite moon right there going along with it. Okay. And it looks like he's almost wearing sunglasses, looking back at the sun, smiling with a little smile here, looking back towards the sun with some sunglasses on. But then in this next frame, watch this. All right. Now this face is more looking straight at us with one black eye, one white eye, and kind of a little grimace or whatever. And it'll run this side. You can still see, boom, your structure right there. And the little moon or satellite with it that's kind of sticking out right here. You can see a flow of plasma reaching out to that little moon right there. Maybe if we do this just a tad bit, that kind of helps a little bit. This is a lot like that Nemesis image that we had back in 2017 with the conduit of plasma type effect and it going over and wrapping around. Okay, so right there, and what I want to do is kind of back up a frame, because right there, and then the next frame is when it jumps a little bit, but it really exposes it. Boom. All right. Get some of the little grid work out of the way. So there's your event right there. And it's captured in a couple of frames. This is a stereo A that only takes a frame every hour. Okay, so there it was captured pretty well. And you can see plasma coming out and draping around the backside of it right here, painting your bigger target right there. And then over here, you can clearly see your outline right there with this little plasma conduit, or, latching onto this little satellite moon right there. Okay, so there's a good shot of it there on stereo A. They're really hard to capture. That's why the other satellite didn't really have a good angle on it this time. And it wasn't bathed in a bunch of plasma. As you can see this time, it's just kind of sneaking by. It's all the other moons and satellites that accompany it that are attracting a lot of the plasma off the sun. So let's continue. Boom. And you can see it moves on out of frame here if I can grab that button. So one more time, the whole loop here at stereo A. You see how it's kind of latched onto that moon that's in front of it, probably a little satellite moon that's sticking out in front of it that has interacted with the sun first and latched onto a lot of the plasma, kind of silhouetting or kind of hiding your round structure there for a minute. It actually kind of silhouettes it really nice this time. It doesn't hide the structure so much behind all the plasma, but they're really hard to detect. Okay, it looks like there might be a secondary one right there. Back behind it, you see that spread right there? Let's see if we can get a frame right before it. Yeah. And if you see little faces and stuff going on in here, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. Hi, Tina P. Welcome, sweetie. Come on over to this satellite and check this out yourself, because these are all images that NASA's producing for us. And I've seen them cross out some UFO activity sometimes, but I'm not sure if they're even aware of what's going on right here. See this bigger one back here? You see the spread? You see the little moon here, another little satellite there. But in the background here, let's see if we can get this just a tad bit darker. Oh, I know. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Yeah, there we go. All right, so bigger structure in the background right there going on. Okay, and really hard to detect because they absorb light, they bend light. You see plasma bending and draping around it, right? That's bending light. Meanwhile, look at this little satellite, this little moon trailing along with it right here. Okay, so you can even see it on that side. Now let me go ahead and put this back into play mode there. All right, and there you can see your activity. It doesn't look like much to the common folk. Doesn't look like there's a lot of activity, but there's a couple of bigger objects sneaking through there. A bigger one behind this medium-sized one out in front there. All right, so there's your activity for today right there. Then we come on over here to the solar ham. Let me brighten this back up a little bit. All right. So let's start up top. Solar flux indice is at 260. We're up one more point. Okay. Sunspot number count is at 213, which is not too bad. But we're down 20. So that's good. You saw that interaction with the sun and all those the big object and its little satellites. Well, there's a bunch of sunspots that they create, and once it has its interaction, well, now we're going down. Areas back down into the green as well. Now, let's zoom in and see how fluxed we are. Goes X-ray flux, that is. Swimming pools and movie stars. All right, so here's your day today. A little bumpy. You see this little increase, kind of average, keep creeping up here. All right, and now we're clear up here. So our solar flux indice is just ramping up with little pops and clicks all along the way. Now this is ongoing right now. We could go take a peek at this if you'd like. But you guys never want to go see what's going on over here. See, look at this link. I didn't even open it yet. I saved it for the show. And you guys just don't want to see what's going on? Well, tough. We're going to do it anyway. All right. So your activity is a bunch of these little moons and trailing satellites that are accompanying the object. You see a good little CME kind of coming out down the bottom here. That almost looked a little suspicious. Ooh. But we had it right there. Something going on right there. Let's back that up a little bit. Ooh, there it is. We're going backwards. Oh, there it is right there. There's a good shot of something going on right there. And then we go forward a little bit. Let me just scroll down for your viewing pleasure. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, there's something scooting through there very faintly, very. Ooh, you see this plasma coming out and hitting the backside of it right there? There's your structure, and this CME hitting the backside of it, pushing it through. And then there's something else right there. So there's two of them right there. Let's see if we can capture that just by playing it. There goes one. And a sec. Yeah. Okay, crazy times we're living in, folks. You can come over here and be the judge of this as well, okay? I'm not telling you how to think or what to think. I'm just showing you what is being captured here on their satellites. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and brighten this back up and zoom on out and get back to our report. So, there's your little activity right there. More of these objects interacting with the sun in their little moons and satellites, accompanying planetoids, whatever you want to call them. I just call them satellites because they're not man-made satellites, but they do orbit a bigger object in that type of satellite. Zooming on out and coming on over to our 3-day geomagnetic forecast, still all clear. KP's been really low lately, and we never got we never got that event that was aimed right at us. That was pretty weird. Meanwhile, X-flare potential still 20%. Okay. All these M flares, 3.5, 3.1, 2, 4.5 with a little radio burst right there, and then a 3.3. Now you look over here at your KP, it's really quiet. Okay. The only boost was up to just a little between 1 and 2. Okay, so that's nothing really. It's been really quiet lately. That's like abnormally kind of quiet. Something's holding up the solar wind. The solar wind has slowed down a bunch too. So also you can see your auroras right now. There's no yellow in there. Even might look like it. There isn't. Okay, but they're pretty healthy right now. Okay, so we might see a little jump in our KP here in the next bar or two here, up to maybe 2. Nothing too bad. We don't need a bunch of geomagnetic energy being absorbed by the planet anyway. Meanwhile, look at this list of sunspots. All right, the only ones really 3932 beta gamma and growing. Okay, beta delta. Here's a delta configuration, but it's missing the gamma. So beta delta still needs the gamma component, and it's growing. Beta gamma and growing. Okay, so we got 3 little regions still of concern, and they're all kind of still growing. All right, as of this report. Okay, that was yesterday's article. Let's just do some track-a-lacking in case they're lacking some tracking. All right, let's get a sip here too. All right, not showing too much there. Meanwhile, a slow rise in plasma density. It's not a CME, but a slow increase in plasma density there on this little graph right up there. And we'll see how that pans out over the next couple of days. Meanwhile, back to our show. That's old news. Okay, let's come on over here really quick to Tony Phillips at spaceweather.com. Okay, a quiet weekend with no CMEs are heading for Earth, bearing an unexpected impact from a stealthy storm cloud. Unexpected, barring that, geomagnetic activity should remain low this weekend with a few auroras outside the Arctic Circle. Now, the sun-grazing comet, some writers are calling it the brightest comet of 2025, maybe a catalyst. 2024 G3 survives the burst, okay, but look at this weird little fabric weave. It was taken from a telescope at a really low angle on the horizon, and it's probably catching some weird little reflection off of its stand or something like that. But it almost looks like they're trying to show you the fabric of space or something. And they don't mention what this is in the article, well, but there is a new comet, okay, sun-grazing comet. We saw the last one just get gobbled up by a CME, too, the other day. You can come over here and read all about this and stuff. I just kind of wanted to show you this little fabric little thing looking structure, which probably inside the tubes inside the telescope or something like that, okay? Hey, Silver Fox. Yay, I'm on. And yay, you're here. And Marcia. Oh my goodness, I'm in love. All right, here we go. Let's get this show moving because we got some important topics to discuss later. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, last night we were talking about this little spot right here where the Schumann went really quiet. Our green band at 7.83. We want one smooth green band. We don't need all this interruption. This is all pressure down below building up. And look at the grinding going on. All right, it's grinding really hard, producing all these frequencies down to what, 20 here, very intensely. And you see these little breaks in between. These are little releases of pressure. It's grinding. The core and the shell are grinding. It's producing a lot of low frequency vibration down underneath there, okay, even at our 7.83. So this is, pressure has built up and we're seeing little breaks in between. These are probably volcanic eruptions or earthquakes or something like that where pressure builds up. It gets a release of pressure, stops grinding for a second, goes back to grinding again, get another release, back to grinding, little releases here and there, good release right there, but back to grinding again. So you can see it's been a very intense day as far as your Schumann, all right? And this is an indicator of pressure down below. This over here is bad news right here. When you don't see any kind of, it's very faint right in there. We don't see any green at the 7.83. That's your magnetic field, okay? Your magnetic field hums much like a high-powered voltage wire, and that hum is at a certain frequency, 7.83. So the dynamo inside the Earth, the core spinning inside its shell produces that 7.83 frequency magnetic field. And when it gets weak like that, that means it drops and radiation is allowed to pour in for a while. And when radiation pours in, the planet absorbs it. So we get to grinding away here. This stuff might be a result of this, absorbed a bunch of radiation in a 4 hour, from 4 to 7, so a 3 hour period of just weakness right there. And there was another spot right in front of it right here. It's still on the map right there. So we had this burp right before it. We're grinding a little bit and then stop. Almost full stop. And it starts to spin again, gets back to normal again, and all that heat energy radiation that came in during this time reaches the core, and now look at the core shell grinding away. Okay, and this affects your animals, it affects you, it can be painful, it can be very irritating and stuff at times, and these big violent swings from nothing to very intense can be like a roller coaster ride on your emotions and on your physical body as well. All right. So what you're looking at is a lot of pressure down below, and we're going to see in the coming days larger magnitude earthquakes, more volcanic blasts, higher blast heights and stuff, maybe possibly new volcanoes hopping on the map, new new pathways of least resistance opening up around the planet. Okay, so let's move on now. You guys doing okay out there? Wondered when the government will just come out and tell the people they've been lying. They won't, Trevor. This stuff is too disturbing for most people. If they told the general public all this, it wouldn't go over too well. There's an elite few that get to know this. It happens to be you. Okay, here we are. Our subtropical convergence zone is just all kind of wonky here. It should be here at the equator, but it's been shifted north about 5-10 degrees right here. Okay, here's 15 degrees. This line up there. So it was at 15 degrees. It has shunted south just a tad bit. Okay, Jimmy, welcome, buddy. All right, good. Risk 603 is here. Good. All right, just real quick, gotta say hi to you guys, man. Sorry. I got to take a time out to acknowledge that you're here. And Trevor, welcome, bud. Anyways, subtropical convergence zone has been shunted north, and it's still kind of in this area. And it's not because the planet has, say, shifted south like that. It's because of venting, thermal venting on the ocean floor. Now, this is your surface temperature winds right there. Okay, we're going to go up to 850 here. This is more where your storm and your clouds and everything reside. You can see we have this nasty storm going right up through the middle part of the country that produced a bunch of tornadoes today. We talked about that last night, and I hope everybody was, well, most of the people were paying attention. Meanwhile, these vortexes rotating out here. We got our setup still kind of going right here. It hasn't the rotation here is kind of diminished. It's shunted more into this open pocket area. Okay, we'll see. I bet you we'll see a correlating, change in the ocean floor when we get to that section of the show. Okay, so there's most of your storm activity. Just kind of looking around. You guys see a face you recognize? All right. So now let's get into our sandstorm report. We have been having an ongoing sandstorm since November of last year. Okay, over a year long, this sandstorm has been coming off the coast of Africa here, going across the Atlantic. There's a pretty healthy plume, and not really white or density, but still a pretty good healthy plume right there, going across the Atlantic, going up into the Caribbean, up into the Gulf. Okay, you can see other wind patterns are bringing it up this way. It's also, we had some wind effects that drew it all the way up to the North Pole. Okay, so now we have sand from the Sahara Desert and other sandstorms around the planet making its way all the way to the top of the North Pole. Now, it's not per se a sandstorm, but there are sand particulates at the North Pole. Okay, meanwhile, this region filling in, we have over here Saudi Arabia, the Middle East going on. We also have this little patch over here, so that face and activity is kind of diminished for a minute. Okay, also Australia having its own independent sandstorm of itself. Now, a lot of sand is made of silica. Silica can hold an electric charge, and when you get geomagnetic activity, and Earth geomagnetic activity puts an electric charge on this, much like a static charge, making the sand not necessarily lighter than air, but much lighter than it is normally. You add your increased velocities and winds because of storm patterns and currents and stuff, and you get kicking up faster winds, lighter particles, and bigger sandstorms, longer lasting. I'm trying to get them lines out of there while I can, but let's move on. Okay, so there's your sandstorm report for the moment. Now, let's go ahead and cover our chemicals here. Now, this is SO2, not CO2. This is sulfur dioxide. Okay, this is basically vaporized magma that's trying to pushing up on the underside of the crust. Magma wants to come out, but it's too thick and viscous, right? So what we're having instead is SO2 emissions pushing out. Now, country's kind of divided. You can see one side is very soft, porous crust, very spongy with a lot of pathways in it. So it's just bleeding out. Meanwhile, on the left side, it's more thicker, mountainous, granite. So any of the emission sites are more volcanic in nature. There's your country trying to unite. There is a way. I know the way. All right, so this has also sparked fire activity. So let's come on over and just click on this really quick. Now, SO2 coming out of the ground at thousands of degrees can, it can dry out the foliage in the surrounding area and cause spontaneous combustion at the emission site or next to it or whatever, okay? We might even be seeing little pops of magma or something coming out of the ground at these spots every once in a while as well. Okay, but what I'm showing you here is fire activity because of your sulfur emission sites. Okay, it's getting up there in Canada. Now, this activity had dropped down into lower 48, but it's not happening right now. It's mainly up here in Canada. I want you to wrap your head around what you're looking at. These are fires in the middle of winter or in winter time up in Canada. This isn't their fire season. Okay. So The reason why the news isn't showing this stuff is because, well, they don't want you to know that some of these fires are being started from underground. There's nothing they can do about it. They have no control over it, so why tell you? But I will. Okay? Put it all on the line to bring this information to you guys. Now, backing on out, you can see that this part of the country has some weird little face right here with horns. I mean, all that SO2. And going down through Mexico, they have all that SO2 emissions. Cuba being a volcanic island structure. Jamaica, Dominican Republic. All of these little independent islands out here are all volcanic in nature and in structure. And you can see that they're all bleeding out SO2 right now. Okay, there we go. So, boom, we come down into the northern part of South America. You see it's bleeding out as well. These are all independent sites. This is not a plume that's blowing down the coast. These are all independent little holes in the ground. I liken them to like a little slow leak in a bicycle tube. Okay, you're getting little pressure release parts, and it's pushing out SO2. Now we come to this fulcrum point in the plate boundary. And you can see our spot tonight, pretty strong, healthy. It's grown in size. See how it's grown in size and its strength. Look how organized this one is up here. Some of these other ones in the vicinity are starting to pick up some strength as well. So we've had an uptick in pressure. You can tell since last night that this one's way stronger. And this fifth one, they're all five there, nice and, organized. They're pretty healthy. Meanwhile, down this region, down Chile, very strong emissions, pushing out a pretty healthy SO2 cloud out into the Pacific, and another big one out into the Atlantic as well. Okay, so we come over to this side, come into Hawaii really quick, stop off at Hawaii, volcanic islands, Oahu, spewing SO2 right now because, well, the volcano there, thankfully, isn't going off because there's a lot of people there on that island. That's the populated island, and we don't want a lot of population, right? Maui starting to bleed SO2, and of course, Hawaii with its volcano going off right now at Kilauea. Oh, bear with me here. I'm trying to go. Now let's back up for their time zone. There we go. And you can see the bruise on the face of the planet here, or China, really dark emissions, really intense emission sites, okay? Also, Taiwan, one of our plate boundary fulcrum points that used to have a lot of earthquake activity. The earthquake activity is kind of diminished because we have a new opening on the ocean floor, but we still have SO2 emissions here, okay? So it's doing its job. Here's Japan. It's a volcanic island chain, all spewing SO2 out of its little volcanic vents. Okay, we're up here at the Kamchatka. Here, this volcano going off right here. This is where we've been seeing some of the earthquake activity. All right, so also, I want to come over to here. You see India. They got a lot of strong emission sites. The wind here blows it up against the back side of the Himalayas, and it won't cross over. So it keeps kind of recirculating around and around and around in that region. Okay. And then we got the Middle East. It's filling in too. All right, SO2 emissions. And over here, they're having methane emissions as well. Methane being another gas that hangs out down below where the lava is and everything. Okay, so it comes out of the ground at thousands of degrees, and it's so hot it's already at ignition temperature. All it needs is air. So as soon as the methane breaks the surface of the sand and hits the air, it turns into flame, and you're having open pits in the sand that are starting to burst out in flame. So SO2 emissions as well as methane burning emissions as well in that region. Saudi Arabia, all that region filling in. You see Europe filling in. Okay. The only spots that are free are like out here in the desert where there used to be old bodies of water that have compacted it or whatever, really dense jungle. Okay, then we come over here really quick, check in on Java. Java being one of our another relief valves on the face of the planet. You can see how dark purple it is, a lot of SO2 emissions. We got 3 different volcanoes going off on the Java right here, okay? You see all this gas that's out in the straits. If you'd have pushed that all back onto the island, it would be a lot darker, okay? So we've had an uptick in pressure in this region around the world, okay? You can see these spots are darkening up. We're having taller plumes, more pressure, okay? Coming over to this region, we got to check in really quick with this little pencil-shaped, boat-shaped island right here with its 2 emission sites right there, okay? Now, that relieves pressure right along the plate boundary as it comes up from down deep, wants to relieve at the surface. Well, it's relieving pressure right next to it. So it's like a slow leak in a bicycle tube right next to the valve stem. So you're pumping air into the valve stem, and immediately as it goes in, the first closest path for it to come out is here and at Fiji. All right. So those 2 spots are relieving pressure in the region. And then right next to Fiji, we've had so much pressure in the region that a seamount grew tall enough to break the surface of the water here at Home Reef. And now we have a new island. Home Reef Island volcano broke through the surface. And now you're going to see, or now you're seeing SO2 emissions coming out of that region as well because of all the pressure going on in this region. Okay. You see the Schumann, that's gonna translate into, kind of like Mike said. I like what he referred to like a shaken up soda can. It's ready to just burst. Okay, and any little perforation in the crust is where you're seeing leakage. All right, leakage of gas. Gas being less dense, it comes up through smaller little pathways and can make it out a lot easier. Oh, well, at least I don't have to do OBS. All right. So that region right there, very important that you understand what's going on there because it's going to come in handy in our earthquake report later. All right. It's going to have to suffer it. Me and OCD. All right. So there's your SO2 report for right now. Something else we need to kind of cover every once in a while. We're going to come over here to our particulates. We're going to do SO4. All right, we just did SO2. This is now SO4, sulfate extinction aerosol. Okay, so it's a sulfate. It has 2 more oxygen atoms per molecule. So instead of sulfur dioxide, it would be quad oxide as a layman's term. Okay, so you can grasp the concept. Now, regardless whether it's coming out of the ground or man-made, it's all over the place. The thing about this particulate is when water adheres to this particulate, it doesn't just adhere to it, it makes a chemical bond with this. And now you have a new compound. When you mix H2O with SO4, you get a new chemical called H2SO4, which is better known as sulfuric acid. Okay, and you're seeing sulfuric acid caught up in your storms. And what are storms made out of? What are clouds made out of? Water vapor, water, and SO4. So you're having, sulfuric acid or acid rain all around the world because of our volcanic activity, man activity, venting, all kinds of stuff. And it's all over. Used to be Antarctica was the one spot that didn't have it, but those days are gone. Okay. Very disturbing what's going on, and it's just this kind of runaway train. Your volcanoes keep spewing a bunch of SO2, SO4, all kinds of particulates and stuff. Okay, so now we can get away from that and come over here to our sea surface temperature anomalies. It's a day behind because it takes so much to compile this map. Okay, we're going to start right up here and get right on to the subject here. Here we are at the Juan de Fuca, all right? This little point coming out, running parallel to this line is where your fracture zone is, comes out, zigzags up, all right? Now you're seeing heat and temperature. This is a result of pressure in that region returning, okay? We had cold water inundation in here for a while, but now this heat and pressure is returning. It's changed some of our vortex structure over the last couple of days. Now it's also, here's your line right where I put this little green dot. It's also south of the fracture zone. So we're seeing earthquakes on the fracture zone, south of it and north of it, because of your plume right here. Okay. Then you also had this little inundation right here into the LA Bay area in this region. Now that's retreating. Okay, we still got these two down here. Also over here in the Gulf, we have cold water right along the shore, but there's some kind of vent, something's going on out in the Gulf, okay? And there's, whether it's venting magma, hot water, steam, SO2, methane, whatever, there's something hot keeping this whole region very hot right now. Okay, this is what it should be like in the summertime. But now we have hot water in that region during the wintertime. Now that's causing a flow of air, moist, warm air to go up through the middle of the country. And we'll show you that when we get to the winds here. Let's just kind of take a tour around the world. Look at all some of these spots that are still ongoing. Any changes? Look at this ribbon that's opened up right there. Whew. Take it off. All right, now Java, we see a lot of pressure release in this area. Good morning, Don. Thank you for being here, sir. As you look at this region, you see cold water inundation because of volcanic activity, earthquake activity, SO2 emissions, relieving pressure in that area, allowing cold water to inundate. Okay, you see hot water off the coast of Australia, and then down in this region is actually kind of diminished out here. It's still kind of surrounding New Zealand, but we're having a big widespread event going out here, out in the middle of the Pacific out there. Okay, also a couple of little spots that have opened up just north of Fiji. We're noting this spot right here. When this opened up, it relieved a lot of the pressure in the area, keeping volcanoes and earthquake activity down. Now we got another one that just opened up right here. So I expect these two to rob some of the pressure in the area. Is a pathway of least resistance. So you're going to see pressure transfer. What was building up here, can now skip over to here to come up to the surface and be released. Okay, so those are weak spots. And they're relieving pressure and stuff in this area. Remember how much yellow was around this island just a couple of days ago? Just like a week ago when we were here visiting this little boat-shaped island? It had all kinds of yellow around it. Now it's just down to red. So these things over here have opened up and caused a new little change in pressure. And that'll change the weather patterns. Now, whether it was an earthquake that caused these or not, any kind of new opening like this can change weather patterns now. All right, now I'm going to go ahead just really quick. Your two hot spots here that have messed up this part of the La Nina. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put the winds back on. And I want you to understand that over these hot spots, warm air accumulates. Over the cold patches, cool air. Warm air rises, cold air rotates in to fill in the gap, all right? Cold air rushes in to replace it. That hot air, once it rises, it cools and falls back down. And now you're seeing your weather patterns, your conveyor belt type structures correlating with your hot-cold structures. Okay, that's why your weather's so wild. It's not following its regular pattern anymore. And what it's been doing for a while now, this rotating vortex out here has been pushing storms up through this region up here. Now you see that it's shifted more south here to more northern California. All right, so now this flow is going to come in more here, go up over the northern part of the Sierras here. Excuse me. And then come over, this cold air will come over this ridge and collide with warm, moist air coming out of here, going up into this region. Note how your storm moving through this area is drawing warm, moist air up into colder region. There we go. I'm going to leave that sit right there. Now you can kind of understand why our weather patterns are the way they are. Excuse me, I have sharp pains. All right. There's your conveyor belt structure right there. I'll let that sit on the Atlantic there for a second so you can see your correlating patterns there. Okay, and this is kind of taking over the lower jet stream. It's not being controlled so much by the upper jet as much as it is by the the thermals on the ocean floor. We are having atmospheric compression. Mike's been talking about that as well. Pushing down from like pretend there's a big air bubble in between my pointer and the planet. It's pushing down on the air this way, while the air currents down here are heat lifting up. So it's squeezing this little band of air, the firmament basically around the planet. It's compressing it down and squeezing it into a tighter area. And now that means that this activity takes control of our weather patterns more so than our jet streams right now. Okay. All right, so that's good enough right there. You can see all these little openings on the ocean floor here going on. Okay, cold water, hot water causing vortex activity up here. Okay, this one over here is kind of settled down. It's shunted more north up here. So your center of rotation's more here than it was right here. So a little heat structure pattern changed enough to break that rotation chain, get it caught up more up in this region, which has changed your structure, pushing more of the storm into through this region. All righty, so let's continue on with our earthquake report now. Thank you for bearing with me here. We got to open up each site because this poor computer's trying its best. Okay, and we'll do it on the satellite for your viewing pleasure. We will get that going. All right. Now let's, backwards, other way. Coming over here, yesterday we didn't see any deep quake or surface quake activity in this region. Okay, we had the SO2 emissions out of here. We had these two new little vents that opened up around here that have the new path of least resistance. So there's a lot of pressure being relieved out them. But meantime, we have had a quake here, and this is a 5.5 down at 550. There's your deep quake, and it's a magnitude stronger than our typical activity. 4.4, now we're 4.5, now we're at 5.5 down at 550. So we are seeing an uptick in magnitude at depth because of the pressure that's built up down there. I showed you the Schumann grinding. Now we're starting to see deep quake activity, and it's a stronger magnitude than 4.5. Now, for the meantime, there hasn't been any kind of residual along here or through here. I showed you the SO2 emission sites kind of right by the valve stem, relieving pressure through this region. These two openings kind of keeping this area quiet. Finally, we're starting to see quakes on this side of the island. 4.4 at 56, that's a volcanic structure. 4.4 down at 145, another volcanic structure. If it's not at the surface and it's down at those depths, it's on the flank of a volcanic feature. All these are volcanic islands that have been pushed up through the ocean surface, okay? So this right here is a 4.6 down at 142. We zoom in just really quick. You can see this whole volcanic ridge running along here has, grown this island. And this is a wall or a flank that goes down to the bottom of this seabed down here. And on the flank of this volcanic structure is your 142. Okay, your depth at 142. Clear indicator of pressure down below working its way, trying to start to work its way to the surface. Meanwhile, we got this area right here, the Mariana region. Okay, with a 4.2, look at here, 312. Another half depth, halfway down deep, 4.2. So some more deep quake activity right there. We don't need to do the islands, the boxes tonight. We got this 4.4 down at 98. Okay, just really quick. We'll get to that region in a minute when we do our America. All right, again, over here in Africa at this volcanic site, we have a 4.8 at the surface. Let me just get this little volcanic feature pulled up really quick here. All right, there's your quake. We got this one right here. Okay, you can see that little cone. And we have this one right here, right next to it. So there's this, and here's a volcanic feature. So a lot of fault lines, volcanic features going on out here. And we got quake activity at the surface. This thing's plugged up. So just outside of it, there's your earthquake, 4.8 at the surface there. One up here really quick, 4.1 down at 45. Again, another volcanic feature. Indicator of pressure working its way to the surface. We have a 5.3 on the plate boundary, relieving energy at the surface. Okay, so there we go. 5.3 is a little uptick in magnitude. Not too bad, but not too bad. Oh, you're okay. You don't have to shut up. You're doing just fine. All right, so either volcanoes or at plate boundaries. So a lot of pressure being vented and building up and coming up from down below. You're okay, Laudry Williams. Just hang in there. Okay, so we're done. Oh, no, we got to do all magnitudes here. You are okay. Now, back up into America again. Let's touch base. This guy was a, 3.5 Rat Island. That's at the surface, 11. So little energy, mid-range 3, venting at the surface there. All small quake activity up through the plate, or up into the fulcrum point activity area up there. But what I want to do is come down into our Wanda Fuca. Okay, here's that little point that sticks off of California, Crescent City right here. Here's the fracture plate boundary. Okay, we're seeing quakes right on it right now. Give me that one. 3.2. Look at the depth, 0.4. So that's right at the surface. Probably made a bubble in the water. 2.2 at 9.2. Then pushing inland, 3.6 at Hayfork, California there. All right, so little activity going on right there. We're seeing swarming here, of course, of the geysers like we always do. It relieves pressure as it comes down through this area into the North Bay, keeping magnitudes and quake activity down, venting pressure right there. Your latest activity magnitude's 1.1. All right, so we'll probably see here in the next few 24 hours an uptick in earthquake activity at this weak spot. And these have been playing tennis back and forth, or ping pong back and forth. When this one's active, this one slows down, and then this one will get active, and that one will slow down. So, meanwhile, out at here in Yerington, still seeing activity around these volcanic buttes right out here. Some of our magnitudes today, 2.2. 1.3. Look at these depths. 6.1. They're really shallow. That was at 5. Give me this depth, 8.7. So there's magma moving around pretty shallow underneath these structures right here. And it wouldn't surprise me in coming weeks or so, as pressure builds up down below, we could possibly see another good earthquake out of this region. Or, we're going to see continued activity. Or you could possibly even see an SO2 emission site, or a little pop from volcanic pop or something out of that, maybe. Also spreading out a little deeper into Nevada, Hawthorne there, way out here in Gabbs. Current activity down at Mammoth here. Okay, little quake swarm going on out here. You see all this volcanic structure. This is all gold field. Oh, we should go get some gold. Okay, a little quake swarm going on out of Goldfield there. This little structure right here, your almond-shaped type structure, activity calming down. This 2.7 off the coast is still a little remnant of the remaining pressure in the area, but that's going to taper off as long as that pressure, that temperature in this region continues to recede. Here's your 3.0 in Pine Valley, so very, very minimal magnitudes there. Remember, we saw hot pockets in this region. Don't be surprised we see a quake go off in that region. Okay, over here, man-made perforations in the crust. We all understand how that works. 3.0 here at Texas. There's a little uptick in magnitude there. That's Oklahoma. Nothing along the New Madrid or Craton today. Quick magnitude check over here, 3.4. That's normal for that region. Really quick, just south of our fulcrum point is your 4.2. Okay. And even though it's not a sharp little fulcrum, it's a boink, boink. It's a change in direction. Okay. And energy wants to go in the same direction, doesn't want to change. So you see, it's also made a fulcrum point deeper into the land. And this is right where one of our SO2 emission sites is, like right here. Right around these vents, right around here. Now you can see why we're having a lot of SO2 emissions in that region right there. There's a good one right there. All right, and as I pan back, you see that's your fulcrum point right there, pointing right at your weak spot. Okay, so we are done there. Let's get into our volcano report here. And then we got very important stuff to talk about on the spiritual report tonight, okay? Because after what happened last night there, something very valuable came out of it, okay? 8.7. Oh, okay. That's your code word? All right, let's get into the volcano report there. Now, 38 erupting, 35 in morning. That's 73 altogether. All right, and I'm not even counting the other ones. All right, so 7 years ago, had very minimal volcano activity. Back then, when all this stuff started happening to me, if I had told you back then all this stuff was how this worked and that 7 years we're going to have 73 volcanoes, you would have just said, no, you're crazy. Well, here we are, 73 volcanoes 7 years later, and I am crazy still about you. Okay, now let's get into it. Still crazy about you. Sakurajima, active volcano currently erupting. Ibu volcano currently erupting. Oh, all kinds of alerts on my phone currently erupting. Sorry about that, folks. All right, Reventador. All right, here we go. Sakurajima exploded at 6,000 feet. Suinoshijima exploded 5,000 feet. Canalone, 9,000. Ibu, I be with you, 7,000 feet today. Semaru, 14,000. We might see a jump in this from 14 to 15, maybe even 16 here in the coming days. Popocatépetl, 21. Fuego, 15. Nevada del Ruiz, 23. That's a healthy little height. Reventador, 15. That's just in the last few minutes. That's just in the last few minutes, because here is today's activity, the 28th, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel, I'm telling you. All right, there is your map of madness. Let me take this translation thing out of there. Do we want it in Indonesian? No? Okay, didn't think so. All right, I'm going to let you guys take a little look at that. There's Harleyburg. Okay, good. Whew. Just insanity. Hopefully this does not get, desensitized. Maybe I got to stop showing it. But up here in this Kamchatka region, Shivalus, Kluchevskoy, Bizamani, Karaminsky, Alade, and Ebico, all currently erupting. All right. All through this island chain right here. Okay. Etna Stromboli, Iceland. And look over here in the Aleutian chain coming to life. Here we got Kilauea active. We got Home Reef active. So in the Pacific, it's filling in. In the Atlantic, it's filling in, except for the Rift Zone or the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. But Mike has been talking about how there are thermal emissions coming out of that region too. Even nickel and some probably radioactive isotopes that are coming out of the core barrier region. When they're grinding, some of those shavings might be getting shoved up through some of these perforations too, and we're getting, even radioactive isotopes. Don't forget about Michael and a currently erupting volcano on the continent of Antarctica. Does your mainstream media know that there's a currently erupting volcano on Antarctica? Probably not. Suano currently erupting, Canalone. There's some an indicator of pressure pushing lava up to the surface, so much that SO2 emissions weren't enough. Now lava's cracked through. Okay. This is like your, I think this was home reef, or very similar. But you can see heat building up inside the cone of the volcano. All right. Happening all over the place. Meanwhile, Suano 4,000. Kenlone, 12,000. There's a big increase right there. Ibu, that was earlier today. Ibu, 7,000. Luatobi, 10,000. Semaru, 14. Kilauea, okay, the eruption of the volcano continues, but at very low levels. All right, with this new round of pressure, expect to see, you'll probably see low levels increase, and an eruption will take place here at Kilauea because it's already leaking, right? It broke the crust of that lava lake, so it's already leaking. Here we are at Popocatépetl, 21,000. You might see a higher blast out of that one. Fuego 14, Nevada del Ruiz, Songay 20,000, Reventador, Villarrica, 1,600 meters squared. Okay. All right, what letter do you say? Okay. All right, and that's the end of your volcano report. Now let's get into our weather. You see all this added moisture going up into the atmosphere and all these particulates combine for heavier downfall, stronger storms, all the ingredients that come with storms. Okay. So now your weather is very reliant on, well, moisture plumes, particulates. We got cold moisture fronts slamming into each other, and we're having convection at nighttime. Okay. So all kinds of different activity. All right. Meanwhile, we had a very dangerous situation today with our tornado outbreak. It's moving more this direction, I think, than this is showing. All right. So currently probably more in this area for tomorrow. Meanwhile, we have severe weather striking the coast. I showed you that change in flow. It's not striking more up here. It's striking more in Northern California, your atmospheric river there. So that's your current conditions going to the morning of the 29th. All right, morning time, we're going to see this QLCS couple line up here, and then look at the whip around on the backside. You might see still chances of severe weather up in that region. Maybe not necessarily tornadoes, maybe tornadoes more down in this region, but still, there's the possibility. All right, everybody take note, be careful, be weather aware during the course of your day tomorrow when you're in this region. Again, over here on the Pacific coast, you're going to see flash flooding, beach erosion, possible water spouts making landfall. Okay. Large hail, possibly. You see snow right on the backside of it. There could be some thunder snow, possibly. Okay. And heavy amounts of snow. That's the morning, tomorrow morning. There's noon. Very severe there. Convection. Nighttime, you see how well organized this low wraps up right there in your comma-shaped tail with these little quasi-linear storm fronts right here. Okay, your little chances of QLCS spin-ups right there. Then it's off coast by tomorrow night. There's the morning of the 30th, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 31st. New Year's Eve, noon, convection, New Year's Eve, nighttime. Severe weather at New York there. Right during the celebrations. Yipe. That'll be the morning of the 1st. Happy hangover day there. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 2nd, noon, convection, nighttime. And the rest of this is so far out in advance that we're not even predictable right now. But you see right here, this cold, all these millibars right here, this cold pocket of air getting all the way down here, splashing into that warm, moist air that's coming up through there. Boom. You see the icing in the middle. There's severe weather chances. So that's the pattern that we're kind of stuck in. And this is out at January 7th. So too far in the future. But something like that event could happen again. And then look as it rotates, turns into like a nor'easter and moves on out. All right, so there is the weather report and your astrophysics, your geophysics, your weather, how it all correlates. And now we're going to get into our spiritual report, which some would refer to as metaphysics, but it's more about how you work. Okay, so we'll get this going here in just a second. I need to do a quick little prayer and smoke. Let me get this pulled up really quick for you guys, just in case here. We're going to pull up this quick little video just so you can see the lion face changing before we get into that. And then we're going to talk about what happened last night, okay, and what was learned from it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just... really don't feel like reporting on that stuff right now. All right, here we go. Give me just a second. I want to go back and revisit an event that happened earlier this year, 2020, around Easter, when I captured what appears to be Jesus in the clouds here. So I need you to tilt your head to the right about 45 degrees, and here's an eye, his other eye, his nose, his mouth, his chin and beard, his hair flowing back like this. And you can make out a crown up here above his head. And that crown is hovering over his head. There seems to be almost a little halo around his head too. And once you see that image, then we can zoom in just a little bit tighter. There you go. Okay, and this event happened over a course of about an hour, and I got a lot of pictures of it. See, if we go up above here, you can see all these pictures up from way over here going across, or all of this event, and I'm going to show you more of what happened here. Okay, here I've taken about 7 or 8 of those pictures and put them together in a flip book, and you can see the different images and that this event, you know, is taking place here, because there's more that happens here. Okay, so starting here, we're going to go forward a little bit here through a lot of these images, all the way. Oh, you right going to bed? Here, where you can see that this face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with the nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Now I'm going to go through and show you the flip book where it changes from Jesus to this lion face. Okay, now we're here at this image right here. This is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out and compressed them. You didn't zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these. Okay, they're in another dimension that's outside your perspective. But when you compress these, like I said, you can see it. These images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus's face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay? All right, so there's that for the moment. Let me pull up some other images and then start talking about what happened last night during our spiritual report. We had a new person in the show who hasn't been here yet, or hasn't been paying attention for a while, let's just say, and started slinging some, let's just say, they accused us, this family, of being a cult. Now, we are a family here. I don't charge for my services. You can come, you can go as you please. All right, so it's not a cult, it's a family. Okay, so there's a big difference there. And when I tried to correct said person, I'm not going to use their name, but they got hostile and angry and then started accusing me of being a false prophet or a false messiah. Now, if anybody's been around this channel for a while, has been paying attention, never once have I ever professed to be a prophet. Have I? I don't try to predict earthquakes or predict volcanoes. I report on them. All right? So they're getting hostile, they're getting angry, right? Okay. Then they accused us, this family, of being a cult. Now, something different about this family is we are a family. You're getting to know me. I'm getting to know you. We're building a relationship, right? So, this person started accusing us of being a cult. Well, we're a family of brothers and sisters in Christ, right? Right? Yes or no? Are we a family of brothers and sisters in Christ? That would be, well, a brethren, right? Brothers and sisters would be a brethren. So a person accusing the brethren would be, ooh, did you catch it? The accuser of the brethren. Okay, now this person isn't said Satan, but they have the spirit. Do you see what happened last night? The spirit rose up in this person and they threw accusations. Who's the accuser? Who is the accuser of the brethren? So that individual was taken over by the spirit that accuses the brethren. Now we can pray for that person, okay? And when that person makes the revelation goes off in their head, the light bulb goes off, they finally go, oh, I get it. Ooh, that's the moment right there, okay? Now this person has the potential for being the biggest turnaround. That's what you got to really see out of all of this. Even though they came at me, they have the potential for the biggest turnaround, a Saul to Paul moment. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why forgiveness is very important in this program. All right. This is one of the tools that I've been teaching you guys as well. And last night we had a perfect example of what that spirit can do, what it looks like when it comes through a person. Now, this person is very adamant about believing in Jesus properly, okay? And they throw the accusations, accusatory of being false prophet, right? I never claimed to be a prophet, okay? So right there shows you the spirit. And they are salvageable. That's the most salvageable person right there. Okay. So it's very important that when you're going through this process, if it doesn't hit you right at first, that's okay. Just keep showing up, just keep working it. Try some of these disciplines in your life. That's when you will see in your own life the results in your hands. And then you practice that over and over and get well versed at it, like a fighter practices boxing. So you'll be well trained when a adversary comes at you. Okay, just like it came at me last night. I wanted to explain this more in detail for that person, but as you know, I had a phone call come in. I had an emergency. I was trying to wrap up the show as quick as I could, and it's important that you understand how that works. It's not the person, it's the spirit in that person, okay, that took over them for a little while, maybe partially possessed, maybe for a moment in that moment. So when you think about what we're doing here, anybody that accuses this family of being a cult is accuser of the brethren. Yes? No? You see what I'm trying to point out here? Okay. So You can try to say we're a cult. You can try to say all that stuff, but this isn't the case. This is a family of people who love each other and enjoy this part of the show. And just at this part of the show is when the disruption happened. It wasn't during the science report or the geophysics. It was in the spiritual report. And now you guys were witness to the spiritual attacks that I get every day because of who I am. All right, now we're going to pull up a few more images here. And one of their arguments was all that my images are fake, that they're, AI or whatever. They're not. Okay, as you can see, I'm a very avid photographer. I've taken millions of pictures in the course of my life. So much so that my computer jams up, and I don't have room for more faces or for more pictures. But here, this is somebody else entirely on a different part of the country captured this event. Okay, and I keep telling you, this is my face right here, and maybe a little later I'll turn the camera around so you can see. I don't show my face a lot. I'm not like a big, hey, look at me type person. This is more for your spiritual work, okay? Now, somebody else captured this. This is not my image, okay? It's not me taking this. And there's all kinds of images from around the world showing up that other people took. So it's not just me, all right? It's, capturing these paranormal events. And you should be thankful, or, said person should kind of realize, wait a second, you better hope that this is indeed real, that this isn't pareidolia, that these aren't computer generated, because we're in the times right now. So this should be a relief that this is real, not an argument. Okay, so just keep trying. All right, if at first the miracle doesn't happen, just keep trying until it does. All right, and keep working this program. These are disciplines that when you perfect them, you become a disciple just by default. Okay, so very important that we all learn a lesson from what happened last night. It's very tedious how I have to do this. Okay, you don't hear me come out and say a certain phrase, right? Well, I'm going to say it, but as a phrase that I don't say, okay? You don't hear me coming out every night proclaiming, I am Jesus, right? Nope. What I do is I show you my experience captured on film. It's up to you to make that decision, okay? So I don't go around proclaiming this stuff. I do it a certain way. If you watch carefully and listen closely, I don't go around proclaiming to be Jesus. I don't go around proclaiming to be a prophet. I don't go proclaiming to be a prophet. I am a guy who had something gnarly happen to me. All right. And I captured it all. And now the lessons I have learned since this spiritual warfare has taken on in my life, all the tools that I use to battle that kind of spirit, okay? You were all witness to it last night, okay? Most of you were. I'm not going to say your name. They know who they are. Some of you know who it is. And, the only thing I can say for this person is just keep looking up. All right. Now, one of the best things that I enjoy is this show. I get to meet my family in the air, and I delight in brightening your perspective. That's why I ventured into your world, knowing full well the terrible price I would pay. People coming at me, right? I came to open the eyes that are blind, to free the captives from prison, and to release from the dungeon those who sit in darkness. Okay? Those who sit in darkness, who are accusers of the brethren, I come to free them from the dungeon that they're sitting in. I come to open their blinded eyes. And when you find yourself imprisoned by ingratitude, ask me to open your eyes and release you from that dark place. It's ingratitude, wasn't it? Not grateful for the gift that's right in front of them. So when you find yourself imprisoned, not just having a little, but you're imprisoned by ingratitude, ask me to open your eyes and release you from that dark place. It's because you guys live in this age of entitlement. So you need to counteract the messages proclaiming that you deserve more. One way is to jot down some things that you're thankful for each day. This changes your focus from things you wish you had to blessings that you already have. Blessings that you already have. Okay? What changes your focus? This stuff right here, being thankful for every little thing each day, changes your focus from the things you wish you had and being jealous of other people's possessions into recognizing the blessings of the things that you already have. Like me as well. Now, saturating your mind with scripture can help you see from my infinitely wise perspective. My word is sharper than any double-edged sword, and I use it to perform spiritual surgery on the thoughts and attitudes of your heart. Don't I? You guys have this newfound wellspring of joy inside of you. I'm doing spiritual surgery on you, aren't I? So, saturating your mind with scripture can help you see from my perspective. You hear that my word is indeed sharper than any double-edged sword, and I do indeed use it to perform spiritual surgery on the thoughts and attitudes. I'm doing spiritual surgery on your thoughts and your attitudes. You can feel it. They're spiritual surgery on the thoughts and attitudes of your heart. And as the scriptures light up your point of view, I set you free from the dungeon of ingratitude, releasing you to enjoy the pleasures of a thankful heart. The pleasures of a thankful heart, okay? Not the sorrows, not the arguments, not the resistance, the pleasures of a thankful heart. And for some of you who are doing that, you indeed found the key to life, and you're going through your tribulation, going from glory to glory, aren't you? Many of you are now. You're kicking ass. I love it too, because that's what I wanted to see, was some people take this seriously and go perform it. It's pointless if you don't use this. So now, believing in me and believing me. Those are two different things. A lot of people say they believe in God and that they believe in God. Well, you can believe in, the Easter Bunny, but do you really think that he goes around planting chocolate eggs everywhere? All right. There's a big difference between believing in me and actually believing me. Okay? But both believing in me and believing me have many beneficial effects, including joy that is inexpressible and filled with glory. Okay, filled with glory. You're going from glory to glory to glory. You're filled. You're having joy that you can't express. It's like unbelievable. It's almost too good to be true, huh? It's almost inexpressible. Your joy is inexpressible and filled with glory, isn't it? If something is inexpressible, it's too great and wondrous to be described, but it can be experienced. Did you hear that? If something is inexpressible, it's too great and wondrous to be described, but it can be experienced. Now you're experiencing it. If you're going to be an expert, you must have experience. You can't just be some self-proclaimed expert. That's just hypocrisy. If you don't have any experience and you haven't overcome the obstacles in said field, then you aren't an expert. You don't have experience. But this can be experienced. It has to be experienced. It's inexpressible, so it has to be experienced. So come into my presence expectantly, open wide your heart to me, and the joy you can have in me is triumphant and filled with heaven's glory. Isn't it? Isn't it just filled with heaven's glory all over? Whoops, that's the wrong one. All over the place. Let's get this one too, this heart one. So anybody trying to come over here, throw an accusation, you better check yourself. You better just go read the Bible first before you come accusing anybody and recognize where that spirit comes from. Don't you guys agree a little bit there? Okay, boom. There's a good shot of heart right there. Hopefully you guys can see him pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. It's radiating out, making this face, my face, with this crown on it. Okay. So these are your little triumphant filled images of heaven's glory. Okay. The joy you can have in me is triumphant and filled with heaven's glory. Here's little glimpses of heaven's glory. There's the Holy of Holies right there. That's the man. There's his heart, pulling open his shirt, radiating out these waves, okay? And it can be experienced. It has to be experienced. And how do you experience it? You come into my presence expectantly, open with a wide open heart, and the joy you have in me is triumphed and filled with heaven's glory. I triumphed over sin and death once and for all time, and this opens up the way to heaven for all who believe me and all who believe in me. So no matter how many difficulties you face, the outcome of your faith, the salvation of your soul, is secure. All right, you get it? You got this? You see this? I'm going to read this again. No matter how many difficulties you face, the outcome of your faith, which is the salvation of your soul, you're doing salvage work every day, right? You're salvaging your days. You're getting that spirit inside you. That's the salvation of your soul, is secure now, huh? The more you practice this, the better you get at it, the more secure it becomes. The more you trust me, the more you can have joy in your difficulties. And no matter how many difficulties you face, the outcome of your faith, the salvation of your soul, is secure. And this is true for all who really trust me. Now, as you rejoice in your glorious heavenly future, let your light shine before other people. Okay, so here we go. Here's my light shining on you. Your face is glowing like this too when you're bringing joy into other people's lives. So let your light shine before other people. My spirit, which is the spirit of truth, will help you speak truth into other people's lives. So align yourself with me, for I came into the world to testify to the truth. Oh boy, listen to this. Wrap your head around this. Okay, so Jesus in the clouds. Jesus is the truth, right? And I came into the world, and what am I doing? I'm testifying to the truth, aren't I? Aren't I? Do you see that perspective? How I came into the world to testify to the truth. So join me in this quest so that people living in darkness can find me and walk in that great light. Align yourself with me. I came into the world to testify to the truth. So join me in this quest so that people living in darkness can find me and walk in that great light. They can find me. I had this one too. Oh, excuse me here. Oh, you got here just in time, Seven Spalding. Yes, you did. I'd come over to your house and give you a big old hug too someday, buddy. Now, is this the one I wanted? Yeah. Okay, so let me get this full screen right there. Okay, that was right next to the moon. By the way, over here is the moon glowing. So the moon is lighting up half of that face right there. All right. So you got to keep looking up. It's important to look up because when you look up to me, beloved, for my face is shining upon you. Be awed by the glory of my holiness and let the light of my love soak into your inner being. Remember that I dwell in your heart through faith, and I am simultaneously master of the universe, which I created and I control, and the Savior who lives inside of you. That sliver that lives inside of you. My majestic greatness and my gentle humility combine to give everything you need. You are rich beyond your wildest imagination. And because you live in a terribly broken world, it can be hard to remember that you are royalty. I know. It can be hard to remember that you are royalty, adopted into the family of the King of Kings. You've been adopted into this family, haven't you? When you first came here, you were probably like this individual, a little apprehensive about what's going on. But in time, that moment came for you. At one show or another, there was that light bulb moment where you went, aha, it's been revealed. I had a revelation. I figured it out, okay? So that's the Savior that lives inside of you, okay? You live in this broken world, and you've been adopted into this family here, my YouTube family. I keep calling it a family. It's not a cult, it's a family. You've been adopted into the family of the King of Kings. Your journey through this world may take you along paths of pain and problems, of deserts and deprivations and distress, but do not be surprised by these fiery trials. Rather, take them on, take them in stride, trusting in the one who never leaves your side. And in due time, I will take you into the realm of my glory, where there will be no more negativity or darkness or night. What's the closer? Oh, yeah. Okay, that new spirit that's inside of you, I'm transforming you. Okay, that spirit is the well springs of water, springs of water welling up in you. Okay, and I want you to draw that water from the wells of salvation with joy. Okay, when you're working your salvage program, do it with joy. You are drawing water from wells of salvation. You're using the tools to salvage your day. Those are drawing water from the wells of salvation. And I want you to draw that water from the wells of salvation with joy, knowing beyond belief, knowing that I have saved you forever from your sins can be a wellspring of joy in your daily life too. And because you know me, you have an inside, Because you know me as your Savior, you have inside of you a spring of water welling up to eternal life. So ponder the enormity of this gift and rejoice. Try to begin and end each day by thanking me for all that I have provided. My gift of salvation, you guys understand that's a gift as well? My gift of salvation is designed to bless not only you, but the people around you. So as you trust in me, streams of living water will flow from within you. So ask my spirit who dwells inside you to bless others through you, like flowing into their lives. One way to make this request is to pray, Holy Spirit, think through me, live through me, and love through me. While the Holy Spirit's streams of living water are passing through you into the hearts of other people, I fill both them and you with joy. Don't I? Amazing how this stuff works. It's so awesome. I'm just so grateful that all this stuff happened, even though it's excruciatingly painful. I'm just so thankful that it happened and that I am able to bring this stuff to you still live on YouTube. Okay? I want you to draw water from the wells of salvation with joy. Okay? So doing your salvage work from day to day while we're waiting, persevering, try to do it with joy. I know it's hard. It sounds simple, but I can understand. I can relate. I go ahead of you. I went through all this stuff already and have taken notes, and I go alongside of you as well. So I go ahead of you so I can take notes and give you meat in due season. This is not milk. This is meat in due season. You are practicing disciplines that will give you strength in your adversity. Okay? And a lot of people are expecting the rapture. And I think this person was expecting Hollywood's version of the rapture where everybody turns into a little white dot and disappears into the sky, and all the people that are, quote, left behind go into airplane crashes and car crashes and all this wonderful Hollywood imaginary stuff. Nowhere does it say that in the Bible. But what it does say is there will be turmoil, there will be wars, there will be rumors of wars, there'll be pestilences and plagues, there'll be earthquakes in diverse places, which also kind of includes a volcano. It doesn't say that in the Bible, but it says the earth, you will see signs in the earth as well. Our weather, okay? These are signs in the earth as well, okay? When you understand and you grasp this, it says, when you see these things start to happen, look up into the clouds, because you will see me coming in the clouds. Not like Hollywood, where the clouds part and there's some levitating dude with the wind blowing through his hair. Oh, a bunch of angels flying around. No, that's what Hollywood produced. When you see these things come to pass, look up and to your clouds, you will see me coming in the clouds, and you see the crown. That signifies power and great glory. I've overcome a lot of stuff. I have a lot of glories chalked up, okay? So I come with power, the power to help you, and with great glory, which is a lot of experience in this field, okay? To help you. If you're seeing this, you are caught up in the clouds. You're caught up with me in the clouds. It's like a good book, a good song, a good YouTube live stream, or a good TikTok thread. You get caught up in it for hours and you don't even know where you've been for a while. It takes your mind off of your circumstances, takes you into another realm, takes your mind away from everything, gives you courage, strength, and hope during these times Okay. And even though you may not feel like you were successful at salvaging a certain situation, the willingness to try, the your willingness to try and keep going and until you finally recover your day. And then if something else kicks you in the teeth, well, then you overcome that. And then something else happens at the night and you overcome that. And you've got 3 salvages in your tribulation. You are going from glory to glory in your tribulation while being caught up with me in the clouds, where we meet in the air of cyberspace, where I have gone ahead and provided this channel here on YouTube that where I am, you may be also. Okay, I keep saying these same lines every night because there's new people coming in, and it's important that they hear it properly, wrap their mind around it, take some time with this. If it doesn't come right away, be careful to come at me accusing. Okay, watch your spirit there. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay, and accusing of blasphemy. Now, you don't even know what blasphemy is. Proclaiming and not being the person is not blasphemy. It's you denying your divinity. That's blasphemy. When you don't accept this gift, that is blasphemy. All right? But me showing you my experience and telling you about what I've been through because of who I am is a lot different. It's way different. I want you to wrap your head around that too. So remember, be careful with your own accusations when you're out there speaking with your family and friends as well. That's that spirit. That's the accuser of the brethren. So you got to be careful with that spirit. It can easily slip out with best intentions, and then it shows. I can see it. Now I'm trying to give you that same tool as to how to see that spirit inside of a person. All right. It's not necessarily the person's fault. All right. Don't hate the person, hate the sin, but be able to recognize it now. Okay. And then it will give you better skills at discerning stuff. Okay. And if you're still on the fence about this, ask the spirit within you if this is true or not. Go ahead. Ask if this is true or not. If you're having issues, okay? Another thing I tried to do last night is show that birthmark on the side of my chest, all right? Thomas was a doubter, okay? Doubting Thomas. Even when resurrected, he still doubted. He wanted to put his hand where? In the wound. So what did I show last night? The wound. So they could put their eyes upon it and see the doubting Thomas effect, trying to help that person with their doubts. Okay, this isn't me trying to prove a point. It's for their spiritual growth, for your spiritual growth. Okay, I do this for you. All right, I think that might be enough of that. People say cult, but mean a cult. Someone calling out cult may actually be the one stuck in a cult. Yes, that's true. My life would be very quiet, but there are partying like hell somewhere. Well, multidimensional beings influencing humans all the time. It's pulling things out of our imagination, your actual memories. They play with your other. Ooh, that's good. Angel Wings, thanks for being here. Nicholas, oh, that looks new. Welcome, WCMW and Fab. Thank you for being here. Angel Wings, Yeshua's son, Amy, Seven Spalding. Thank you for being here, sir. You were going to meet, dude. You know that, right? You know that, right, Seven? We're going to meet, and I'm going to give you a big old hug, and you're going to be like, dude, no way. But it can't come over right now, so we just got to meet in the air in the meantime. Patience, persistence, perseverance, keep working your program. Okay, you're a spiritual warrior in spiritual warfare. They're coming at you left and right. You see the spirit in people and how they lash out. Now you can recognize the spirit, the accusatory of the brethren type spirit. Okay. And when that happens to you, well, that must mean you're over the target. Don't you think? Especially when it happens to me every day, all the time, everywhere I go, except for here in my family, here, but every once in a while. We get a new person that's adopted in, and it takes a while for them to figure it out. Okay. And I know, I understand this stuff is like too good to be true, but it's really happening all around you and physically happening to me. And that should be a blessing to you guys that this stuff is happening to me. Okay. This is not computer generated. It's not AI. It's not Photoshop. This is what your clouds look like. Here. That's what it kind of looked like. Actually, more a little bit like this. Pull that one. There's more looking like that in the sky. All right. So you couldn't even tell what was there. I was just clicking off what I thought I saw something different going on. And then once we zoom out, oh, that's what was going on. And then it changed into the lion face as well, the lion of the tribe of Judah. Okay, so it's important that you see both of those faces blended together. And this happened April 17th, 2020. Been going on for a minute, okay? The quote, rapture can happen at any moment. Well, the being caught up can happen at any moment. That moment is the moment you decide to believe me and trust me. Okay, because it's been going on since 2020. This activity here since 2020. All right, other activities since 2017. So for 7 years, you could have been looking up and getting caught up in the clouds of what you're seeing happening in the clouds. And now you're looking up, getting caught up in the drones and the UFOs that are all, a lot of them are pointing or trying to draw your attention to the face that's in the clouds right next to them. Just like the eclipse, with the UFO going through the eclipse, going right through the lion face. It was trying to draw your attention to the face in the clouds so you will eventually catch on to, wait a second, what are these giant faces in the clouds? Huh? Yeah, it's the spiritual realm. And you guys got a good head start on this. You got a good program. You're working it. You're finding results. You're keeping your side of the street clean. Okay, trying to salvage your day, bringing that light into other people's lives. And you guys are doing awesome. You really are. And when you come across resistance, remember, you must be over the target, okay? And if said person comes back, they are forgiven. They have their spot at the table. All they have to do is pull up a chair and sit down at the table. So if you feel like you messed up, well, it's okay. I'm a forgiving kind of guy. What's kind of cool is if you say, I'm sorry, well, then if you repent and say, I'm sorry, well, then I get to say my 3 favorite words, which are, I forgive you. But I can only forgive you if you have a repentant heart and you are truly sorry. You see the error of your ways. Apology, then I just say, oh, no problem, I forgive you. That's my favorite thing to do, is forgive people, okay? Because they know not what they do. I can see a little bit deeper, a little more than most can, so I can see what that spirit was when they accuse the brethren. Who is the accuser of the brethren? We all know that spirit, so watch out for it as we continue down the path. Remember, it's an adventure. Keep looking for those little gifts, those little blessings, those little treasures, those little gems along your path. Okay? There's little treasures hidden along your path every day. And when you recognize one, oh, there it is. Oh, I overcame it. There's the treasure. There's the gem. I got it. A simple thank you and recognition that it was a gem or an answered prayer opens the door even more. That's how this stuff works. Okay, it indeed does have a very beneficial potential for you. Okay. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back and have been for a while. Like a thief in the night, I snuck in 7 years ago. And this activity been going on without anybody really kind of noticing except people here at this family. There's been other people capturing images, but they're not quite sure why they're capturing what they're capturing, but you are. You know why these faces are showing up in the clouds. And when you know who I am and you believe me, then all of a sudden you understand your identity. And if you want to be a child of God, you can be. You just keep fighting for it and go one step at a time, keep plugging and refuse to let this world take you down. Overcome the world, overcome the situations, overcome your adversity with your chin up. Keep your chin up. You're doing good. You're performing, all right? You're actually doing spiritual growth now. You're being transformed. These new situations coming down the pike don't worry you and rattle you so much now that you know that you have somebody on your side. Not just somebody either. You got the best thing on your side. Just keep working your program and you will see results. Maybe not right away, but keep doing it. Don't give up until the miracle happens. And once it does, take that mustard seed and go and just charge with it like you're running for a touchdown. Okay. Another thing, anxiety, performance anxiety. It's not your performance. It's the fact that you're willing to recover your day. Okay. It might be a little sloppy sometimes. I know I have to do that too sometimes, but it's the fact that you're willing to do it. You might bump into somebody and they're like, hey, why so grumpy? Be like, well, I'm trying to recover my day. I'm in the process of salvaging. I'm in the middle of my salvage right now. Catch me in another 10 minutes. Actually, the smile that you gave to me finished it off, and now I feel better. Okay? They're trying to get to you. They're trying to get to your mind, make you fearful. And my children don't fear. They have nothing to fear. Okay? So that's another added tool that comes along with this is for your anxiety. And if you think that your performance isn't up to par, it's not judged on your performance. It's judged on your willingness to get up, brush yourself off, continue to bring that love and light into other people's lives who don't understand. Individuals like who came in here the other night, I'm not going to accuse him of being Satan and blah, blah, blah. No, it was the spirit that overtook them. They didn't understand that they were accusing the brethren, but now they do. Now I'm sure the little light bulb went off and they went, ooh, I did do that. Ooh, maybe I should have listened, and maybe I will listen more now as we continue to just go forward. Okay, step by step, just keep going forward. Almost like Dory the fish. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. All right. Just keep pressing yourself off, get up and keep going. And like I said, try to bring that joy in that life, that positive attitude into other people's lives. That's it for tonight. I love you all. I said it a few times, but I'm going to go. I miss you. Until my next show, I will be back. I'm a man of my word. I am already back. Hopefully you can tell, and that's why you're here. Love you all, and bye.